shipping all our effluent, believe it or not, halfway across the island because there was no facility. Because we now treat our effluent and it's at a stage where it can be taken into the public sewage system, we've obviously reduced shipping the waste. Okay, and we've got even simple things in the offices of paper reduction. You know, you've seen the things, don't print if you don't need to, use both sides, all those sorts of things. Once again, big reductions in paper waste. Okay, thankfully my voice has managed to hold up long enough, so I'll say thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. I'm looking forward to the next 2 days of hearing what everybody else is doing. Was a pity that I had to follow a South African again. So I'm getting a bit like my rugby team now.
That was going to be my first question.
I know. So I'm just open to any questions. As I say, this is more specific to Craft Bahrain rather than the general philosophies that Ian gave to the team. So.
Well, Andrew, thanks very much for your wonderful journey and also a trip that you made in Bahrain and build up a company like this. It's, quite a role and I think extremely good for the environment, also for Bahrain, but that is what the people there will tell. Questions, please. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pooh.
I don't have to answer them, do
I don't know who was number one, but the lady.
Yeah. Thank you. Did you use a specific contracting strategy in Bahrain? Did you use an international EPCM contractor or various contractors?
For the building?
For the building, yes.
We had a huge challenge because if you people have watched what has happened in the Middle East, Dubai was just going crazy as far as construction goes. I think 80% of the world's cranes were in Dubai 3 years ago. So it got to a stage where we had a great idea of what we could do, and then not having it available, there was no concrete available, no steel. So we used our own project team, craft-based people, and we used a design company, Tebeden, a Dutch company based in their operation in Bahrain. So it's a combination of a craft and using contractors. We would have done it differently if things had been available, but they weren't. Having said that, with what's happened in the world's economies at the moment, Dubai's a bit of a basket case now, and you can basically get anything you want into Bahrain, people to do the building, plus concrete, steel, etc.
Okay, it feels a little as if you took a very risk-averse approach to the initial thought around the factory and that, and hence an awful lot of CI, so early on in the process. So I just wonder, at Craft Centre, how the approach was taken to the launch. You did say it's 10 years since the last one was built, so.
Yeah. So the last one outside the US, yeah. I suppose I was lucky because the people we brought on board early were they'd come from other organisations, other companies that had a very strong CI culture anyway. So it almost evolved or happened by mistake rather than, hey, this was a planned, we're going to just hit this with a CI culture. As I said at the start, the one benefit we had was there were very few craft people in the organisation. That's nothing against craft, don't get me wrong. I mean, but to just have so many different people coming in with different ideas, the concept we came up with was by mistake, if I was brutally honest about it. But it's certainly a model that people could use now. I spent probably the first 4 months working for Craft, travelling around the world, just interviewing people, making sure that we put the investment into the right people for the startup. So. And Craft don't overpay, so we had to attract people with other things.
There was another question here.
Yeah, in terms of scope and responsibility, where does the limit between business development and R&D stand, please?
Oh, that's a tricky one. it's as I said, business development is for the day-to-day of the plant, the way I see it. And now I know some of my R&D colleagues are in the room here are probably going to shoot me down. I've always seen R&D as being the research side, the science side. Hey, we can figure out how to pull a product apart or new packaging concept. Then we deliver it to the plants, to the business development, for them to pick up the ball and run with it. It changes in the craft organisation like any, depending on the people, once again, the culture, where it's, we have, I think, 10 or 12 R&D folks on site. And once again, varying cultures. And it's amazing how you can work with them differently. But yes, I suppose to answer your question, business development, day-to-day, product change, R&D, the entrepreneur, the future products, etc.
Thank you. the last question here in. Did I miss somebody in the back? No. Okay, please.
Can you say some words about the cultural differences and language problems that you probably have to overcome?
Okay. My previous HR manager was a Romanian, and he insisted that everybody we interviewed spoke English, which that's fine until you get to sort of you get into Nepal, where people are coming out of farms, and they're lucky to speak their own language, let alone English. So initially, the plant language is English, but we worked through. One of the targets I had was initially team leaders and managers should represent the majority of the cultures we have there. 80% of our people are Indian, so it doesn't make sense having a Kiwi trying to tell Indians what to do. They don't understand me now, so at the start they had no chance. One thing we did, I suppose, identify was, because we were a dairy company initially, dairy industry in India was very strong, so we deliberately targeted the Indian dairy industry to try and get the best people we could. Historically in the Middle East, and I've worked for a number of companies in the Middle East, we found that Filipinos make very good engineers. So you tend to get clusters of groups, 16 nationalities, but manufacturing is mainly Indian. You could say engineering is Filipino. We've got Arabs as administration. We're trying to break that down, but it just happens. It's the way people migrate to each other.
Well, thank you very much once more. Then we go to the third and last speaker for the break, and he is Michael Taylor. He is